Hello, everyone. This is Milt Olson with Maintenance Technology Systems. We're going to be looking at our MTSXplorer machine analysis software here today. And just to give you an overview of the functionality and some of the features that are available. It won't be about too much how to use, but just an overview perspective. So what we have here is basically it's three um, separate programs, if you will. One is our main program, and maybe I'll just close these guys down and so you can just not have that extra clutter there. And this is the basic the main program as it runs. The idea is that we have all of our machine lists over here on the left-hand side, a machine tree, so you can kind of see how the configuration of the database looks. We have a status bar down here that we kind of put some information in to give you a little better feel for where things are going. Across the top here is our main buttons and different things that control how the program functions. Lastly, we're working on a menu here that you can kind of get to some specific information, shortcuts through menu if you prefer to go that direction. So that's kind of the layout of the machine. So I'm going to start working through several of the buttons here. One is we can select different machines or different customer areas, whatever you want to call them. And that's our topmost part of our database hierarchy. The second one is we select different departments within that hierarchy. And we'll leave it here. And last of all, we've got different machine lists that you can do analysis on. Or, for instance, the last machines that you uploaded data to the database, it keeps track of that, and generally a little bit more specific analysis just of the last data that was uploaded. Or we could look at all of the machines in the database that have data stored on them. Or we can just get an overview of how all of the database looks, everything that's in there. So these other machines showed up, but we haven't collected data on them. And so those are those top three choices. If you're in the field and happen to do some analysis, it will just give you just those machines. This last analyzed machines is from the previous report. It keeps track of that, and you can just pull up those machines to see how they're currently doing at this point in time. The last one is a list order that you've made up yourself that you prefer to do analysis in that particular order. So just different ways to look at some machines here. We'll come back to this last surveyed machines list. Once again, we've got three different machines that we had data collected on. I can individually select points going through here, select a different machine, it automatically closes the top one, opens that machine, select the third machine, whatever I want to do here to select which machines I look at data on. Now, going across the top, we have different databases. You can have as many of these as you want, and this just brings up a list to select from within a Windows pop-up window. As you can see, it's here. Scroll down. MTS is where we're currently pointed in our data file, and I'm currently just IVC Services database. And when you select the one you want, these are all different databases that we have here. And I'll just stay in this one. And some of our things bounce back, so we'll back to there. There we go. We're back to where we started. As we're going through our database, these next plot, previous plot, we can just step through, select our type of data plot we want to look at. There's a waveform plot, it'll pull that up. And we can set that up here on our screen. We can resize it so it all fits nicely. And so we'll come back and we'll pull up another plot, and then as you can see, Go through here, it selects different data sets to display and just goes through that process there. We're going to set up our database. We click on that button, brings up something much larger than the screen just for you can kind of see how it fits on a full HD screen. And we'll just hit cancel here. We list updates. Remember we talked about the different lists here. This order analyze list location shows up in our list update thing. The list updates, if I select that, we've got we can create an order list, which is what we would use over here to do analysis. We can select a list that creates our data collection list that we then put on our data collector to go out and collect data with. This one is for our permanently installed data collectors, our VBox 4, VBox 2. It goes through and lets you take the database you've set up and apply it to a permanently installed data collector. So just some of those lists that need to be created are done at this point. So we could go through and show that best for different video. Our upload data comes up and basically gives us a place to choose where we upload our data from. Sometimes it's easy to go to a local disk drive, a map network drive, a jump drive that we've moved from our data collector, and select where we want our data to come from. So I'm just going to go select spot here. We'll just have some basic data in. We'll use that folder. Then we get this screen that comes up, and we can choose to upload our VBox 3 data, or from our permanently installed data collection systems, we go through that and it just uploads the data in the database. If I had 1,000 measurement points to upload, it would take a couple of minutes. So it gives you a progress bar and just some basic information as it uploads data into the database there. Report tab, we work through different ways to different reports, and we have a separate module on that reporting, and we'll go through that. Our trend setup, there'll be an additional setup to work through there. We have audio files. This one over here is our volume control. We can increase the volume here if we want. This one over on this side is a playback speed, and it's set at 1 right now. If we drag that down, it goes to a half, or 2, up to 2. So we just typically leave that at 1, but sometimes playing back that audio helps with that to make those adjustments. And we actually want to play the audio, we can click on this button, or in the time waveform, we can click this one. I'll show you this one just so you got a feel for what it does. Turn up my volume here. You can hear some of them. And we'll turn that back down so it don't get too much extra noise for what we're doing. So that's that one. These buttons, we can delete a data set if we find that there's some things there that aren't, that was a bad data, the transducer moved, whatever the case is, we can just click on that and delete that data set from our database. We can go to the first one. We step down through the gold. If we had more than one data set here, we could go through and it would show those, or go back up, showing newer, go to current. Database tools, we've got some ability to manipulate the database, take out and throw away old data, those kinds of things. These other 4 buttons over here, defaults, how to, defects, and help buttons are not actually functional yet, but it shows you some of our default setups. This is, we turn on how to, and it would bring up a list, and you could choose different videos to learn how to do a report, or learn how to set up the database, or whatever. So those things will be incorporated into this as a package that way. We're working on an online defects list, kind of like the big wall charts that you've seen. So you click this, and it would give you a list of different defects to actually look at data, and would put that data into your different plots and let you do some analysis. and then of course a help button that we would turn on, and we would display wherever your cursor happens to be. It would give you some feedback about what that button does and so forth. So as we get those functions implemented, that's the basic design we have. So we'll go ahead and sign out at this point and use this as just an overview of the software package. Well, maybe a couple more things. If we pull up an FFT plot, go and get that to, once again, go functional in our window here, size it so it fits nicely, stick it in our space here, shrink it down so it fits. Notice that these were kind of independent windows. You can place them, spread them, enlarge them, however you would like across multiple monitors or however you want to do analysis. And that's how they work. Basically, we've got up to 6 plots that you can show here. We have 2 data sets, so we'll show both of those. We can go down here and show those 2. We want to look. This is horizontal. If we want to look at our vertical data, same down here. We can look at that. We can look at the highest peak in our waveform. Gives you a 2-second window from 5.9 seconds out to 7.9. Shows you the highest peak in the top data set, centered in the middle here. So it's probably that guy right there. We've got our cursors that you can place on the window, change their spacing, move the whole family wherever you'd want that to go, and so forth on that one. Same thing here on the bottom. We've got a harmonic cursor. Grab it, drag it around, automatically resizes based on where you've got the primary one. Got a sideband cursor. Notice that it has a family either side. We can expand or contract. If I click here, it jumps the center cursor to wherever I click on the thing. If I wanted to take this down from 8,000 Hertz, give me an Fmax of 2,000, I can do that. I can key in a number here, let's say from 1,000, and go over here and do it to 1,100. I roll my mouse wheel, shows it from 1,000 Hertz to 1,100, so it's pretty good resolution. My mouse wheel changes the amplitude. If I press in the shift key, it goes back to full screen. Just lots of different ways to look at the data here. I typically will select this at like a 3,000, places that number out here, and I can see data that is most interesting to me. The same thing works in the waveform plot. I can run the mouse wheel to change the amplitude. Can look at it in displacement units if I choose, acceleration units, defaults to velocity. Go back to our single cursor here. Notice that I can move this. It updates the data over here on the right hand side. If I want to do a fine adjustments, I can use my arrow keys, left and right, and that's how those kind of things work. So that kind of gives you an idea of the software, how it works. I want to make this full size, I can do that. Notice my cursors move in all plots as I work around there, go left, left, and I'll eventually get the actual peak amplitude showing up here as a 0.04 number. That's coming close. There we go. 0.33033 is the amplitude there, frequency. And so we've got all of those different kind of abilities. Hertz, RPM, or order. That dropped off the bottom of the screen. Choose our horizontal, vertical, axial. We have a peak hold spectrum that comes part of that list. Over here is where we do our reporting from. And this guy we can change our plot colors pretty easily if we want to do that. Brings up a color selection window. Want to make our top plot, I don't know, let's make him bright green. Save and exit. And where's our bright green? There he is. Okay. So that's basically layout of the screen, pretty user friendly. All the stuff you want is there to do analysis with. We do our reporting. Brings up a list here. We can choose an alarm, choose our defect stuff. We can choose it from a list. We can type in these fields. We can put whatever we want in there. We can edit these lists, so whatever you want to have come up there, so you don't have to type it over and over again. We've got a spell check built in here. Save and continue. We'll save this analysis we put in there. And so that's basically how the analysis program works. Very simple to do. We don't have to spend a lot of time creating a report. It captures this information, stores it in the database, allows us to generate a PDF report. We can print it. We can do whatever, however you want to communicate that information to the necessary organizations. So that kind of completes our overview of the software at this point. Hope this has been helpful. Again, this is Milt Olson with Maintenance Technology Services, and we'll sign off.